in the 85 kilo men's championship final of Europe, and we're just about in the lower third. You can see there the situation, and onto the stage is it Ince for Turkey, the man who currently leads this competition, having snatched at his first attempt 163 kilos up on the bar to 166, and currently 3 kilos ahead, or will be 3 kilos ahead of Georgi Markov if he makes this second attempt. Georgi Markov, of course, of Bulgaria. Ince, the European champion back in 2004, on the eve of the Athens Olympics. And alongside myself, David Goldstrom, is David Morgan as ever. And that's an important setback for the Turks, who, frankly, David, have looked a shadow of their former selves.
Well, that's right. Like the Bulgarians, the whole team seems to be, well, and the Russians for that matter, the whole team seems to be slightly under par.
So just to bring you up to date at the moment, Ince on 163 kilos is now in the lead by virtue of lighter body weight over Georgi Markov, 163 kilos.
166 kilograms on the bar,
And then in third place, Andrej Kutlik of Slovakia. And this is the situation as you join us here. Ince, you can see lighter body weight ahead of Georgi Markov of Bulgaria, the Olympic silver medalist from way back in Sydney when he was lifting at 69 kilos. Kutlik of Slovakia is at the moment in the bronze medal position. You can see secured that ahead of Benjamin Hennequin of France, also on 160 kilos, made that on his third attempt. But still to start their challenges, Tigran Martirosyan, the older brother of Tigran Martirosyan, who won the 69 kilo championship a little earlier in the week, and the Russian Vassily Palovak, who've yet to start. So this is Georgi Markov, and, well, David, you remember this man really well.
Well, that's right. I remember him lifting these sort of weights 2 weight classes lighter. He snatched, in fact, he still holds the world record on 165, lifting in the 69 kilo class. Seems to have gained 2 stone and no strength whatsoever, but that's good.
Yeah, 167 kilos, and it takes him into the lead, but that is his final attempt. With Ince with 1 to come, and Tigran Martirosyan and Vassily Palovak of Armenia and Russia, respectively, still to start.
It's interesting, actually, if you look at the Turkish team, they seem to be more confident, overconfident of the weights that they can lift because they've lifted heavier weights in the past. So they're taking all kinds of strange jumps after failing weights, thinking they can do it, and it hasn't been coming off so far.
Now, Ince, if he makes this, will go into the lead by virtue of lighter body weight over Markov. Ince now 27 years of age. And that's good. Probably the best one of the 3, David. Well, we haven't seen much fire out of the Turkish team.
I think it's frustration, I think, as much as anything.
So Turkey lead, Bulgaria second, Kutlik of Slovakia in third place, but it's a fragile third place. And indeed, Georgi Markov, although he's in second place, having finished his lifting, if Tigran Martirosyan and Palovak are better, he can still be pushed off the podium. So here is Vassily Palovak, 168 kilos on the bar. This 85 kilo class, 187 pounds, 13¼ stone. And Palovak for Russia, coached by David Rigert. Third in the national championships this season, and a former junior European champion 3 years ago. That's very good. Now, his personal best in the snatch is 180. And interestingly, David, if he was third in the nationals, obviously not the first string that the Russians have sent here, but looking at young Alexei Yufkin, who did so well last night in the 77-kilo class, and we'll be showing you highlights of that in the break between.
Sorry, did you say he had a best snatch of 180?
Yep, he's got a PB provided by the Russians of 180. Now, Tigran Martirosyan, for so long, he, as the older brother, was the man who was making the headlines. World bronze medalist a couple of years ago in Santo Domingo, when he snatched 172 kilos, 198 for a 370 total. But this week, younger Tigran, I thought, was exceptional in the 69-kilo class, junior, world and European records.
And 6 out of 6, looking as if he could have added more weight to the bar if needed.
So maybe he's going to get the limelight instead of his older brother. But 168 kilos on the bar. Weighed in at 83 kilos 57. He's the lightest of all the 9 men in this final, so that would have put him into the lead. No, just didn't pull it high enough.
Yeah, short pulled. Didn't pull it high enough to fix it on straight arms. So just needs to hang on just for a split second longer in that first phase.
And if you're wondering about the Russian, Vassily Palovak, well, he's posted 170 kilos as his opener. Oh, sorry, what am I talking about? As his second attempt. He's actually in the lead, of course, with 168. So Palovak leading by a kilo over Izet Inche. Georgi Markov in third place. Andrei Kutlik of Slovakia down in fourth place. 160 kilos. But the first 3 at the moment are separated by just a kilo. That could all change. But Martirosyan needs to get this to get himself established in the competition. Seventh in the Olympic Games in Athens. And round about the 172.5, that sort of level. That's just about the highest he's ever been in this particular phase of the competition. And if he could do that or go there, that would certainly keep him in touch. Much better. Much better. So now, David, he could try to put an extra 4 kilos on. What would you reckon? He's got to take 2. Missed the first one.
No, he could go 1, because remember that was his second.
Oh yeah,
attempt,
fine.
So.
Absolutely, sorry.
I don't think he will for 1 second.
No, I mean, it looks strong enough there. I mean, I could imagine him going to 170. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Could you take 1?
Well, he's going to fight it out now. I mean, unfortunately, he's only got 1 attempt left. The Russians got 2. Russians posted 171.
Yeah, the Russians.
Well, the Russian's heavier, so he's only got to lift the same as the Russian.
Yeah, the Russians actually also. This is Palovak has posted 200 for his opening clean and jerk, and Martirosyan 195. So Martirosyan needs to keep in touch, and the bar's gone to 171. So I can see Martirosyan either going for that or going for 172.
He only needs to equal the Russian, remember?
Yeah.
And he's showing he's put 171 in anyway.
So Palovak. Now this will be important, David, because quite apart from his contest with Martirosyan, if he was to get this, it would put him 4 kilos ahead of Izet Inche and Georgi Markov, who, good lifter as he is, great lifter as he was, is perhaps in the twilight years of his competitive career. Georgi now 31 years of age. But that's just made it more interesting. Now, Martirosyan.
I think if I was Martirosyan, I'd be taking that 171.
Yeah, on the basis that Palovnikov isn't going to get away.
Well, if Martirosyan does it, Palovnikov will have to go to 172 if he wants to take the medal on the snatch.
And it would actually be quite interesting, David, because if Palovnikov was to fail at whatever weight he took, you know, at the moment, and Martirosyan was to succeed, Martirosyan will get 3 kilos of body weight. That would be quite a useful little edge to have going into the second half.
Well, Martirosyan's gone up to 173. I don't understand that. He only needs 171.
I think he's maybe they're thinking about the fact that the Russian in the second half
in the clean and jerk.
Yeah, and you know, if you remember his brother, I mean, he did brilliantly, didn't he? He did in a more effective way, built up a 10-kilo advantage, and you know, then and said, "Catch me if you can," and they couldn't. You know, Dabaya was not able to close the gap. And that was A, because of what he did in the snatch phase, but then the fact that he, you know, managed to improve in the clean and jerk as well. Be quite something for brothers to win 2 championships. And of course, Armenia at the top of the leaderboard, and Russia closing. Armenia with 10 golds and Russia with 6. And some really good competitions in prospect. 94 kilos a little later on today, and then of course tomorrow the 105 and the super heavyweights. Super heavyweights, and pretty well looking at the starting order on the super heavyweights, David. Everybody who should be here is here to compete in that. Now, Palovnikov, third and final attempt, 171 for the outright lead and a 3-kilo advantage. Martirosyan will be the last to lift in the first half of this. No, got his hips behind, couldn't chase it. And advantage Martirosyan because he's won the snatch gold medal. He's got the same kilos as Palovnikov, but now has the opportunity to build himself a cushion. Martirosyan on 172 kilos. He's come off 173. So 172, which is just about his lifetime best. He has done 172.5 when we used to have half kilos, but those have disappeared. But this will be pretty useful. 4 kilos in body weight, David. That's effectively 5 kilos. And that could be, you never know, that could be just enough. So Armenia in the lead. Definitely have taken the gold medal.
Oh, well, they went up to 173 and then came down to 172.
Yeah, just said that.
So
Inche in third.
I think they must have actually put it wrong on the board, actually.
Just about 20 seconds. Well, Russia were top of the overall medal table last year, but if the Armenians can profit here, they might well end up as the #1 nation of 2008 at the Europeans, men and women.
Oh, very good.
Well, again, third attempt, put it right, and for me, that was the best of his 3 attempts. And that's a very useful little advantage that he's got there. And Tigran Martirosyan following in the footsteps of his brother, who led arguably with a little bit more command at the halfway stage of the men's 69 kilos, but here on this Saturday afternoon in Lignano Sabbiadoro, it is Tigran V. Martirosyan, the older brother, who leads the 85 kilo championship with 172 kilos over Vassily Palovnikov. There it is, and it's a 4-kilo advantage in body weight over the Russian. And then is it Inche, the man who won the European title in 2004, in third place, but that's 9 kilos down. And Georgi Markov also, on 167, I do beg your pardon, they're actually 5 kilos down. And there you can see the men from the B group who lifted earlier in the day integrated into those results. So just under 10 minutes, in fact 9 minutes to go before we're out and starting for the clean and jerk. And we're going to take a little break here on Eurosport. We'll catch up with last night's 77 kilo highlights when we come back. So stay with us here on Eurosport, back for the clean and jerk after this. So I look back at yesterday, and David, quite an interesting competition, because it was a competition of real pressure, the men's 77 kilo class, because out in the first half of the competition, the world champion and the Olympic champion, Stoitsov, who won the title in Thailand, he went out and couldn't manage any of his 3 attempts, neither Taner Zar, and it was this rather promising Russian Alexei Yufkin who produced really good effort in the first half of the competition to keep himself in touch with a 155 kilos for the bronze medal. You were saying, here's his senior teammate on the stage, you were saying about Yufkin when you saw him, you thought, yeah, promise, but also could be better, you know, when he moves up a weight.
That's right. He needs to gain a bit more muscle and a bit more, you know, get a bit more training behind him.
And David Riggott coaching both of the Russians. This is Oleg Perepechenov, who's the clean and jerk world record holder. Set that back in 2:10, but here in the snatch phase, producing 3 very good performances, David.
That's right. Finishing on 164 kilos.
And staying ahead of his teammate, but the other man who found himself in the fight, well, Armenia, they've been involved right the way through this competition. If you think about the Armenians, David, it was, you remember the big super heavyweight, Ashot Danielin? He was sort of one of their, you know, headliners, you know, 6, 7 years ago. But now suddenly the last 3 to 4 years, as a complete squad, men and women, the Armenians, you know, they are at the top of the medal table.
Well, they used to produce some good lifters. I mean, Yurik Vardanyan, who won the Olympics in 1980 in this class. It was well, it was the 82.5 kilo class. Sorry, not in this class. In the 82.5 kilo class, as opposed to the 85 that we have now.
And that was Ara Khashatrian, who was the silver medalist a year ago in this weight category with 165 kilos, taking a 1 kilo advantage over Perepechenov, with young Yufkin in the bronze medal position. And there you can see the Olympic champion Tsar and Stoitsov out of it and left to fight for clean and jerk honours. Well, Stoitsov declined. Taner Zar said he would have a go, but it ultimately was to no avail. And so it was the main 3 men from the first half contesting the medals in the second phase. Khashatrian, 191 was good, and this 196, his second attempt. And this just about his personal best, his lifetime best. And Khashatrian, well, apologies for the frozen picture there. And
just thinking about other Armenians, actually, Yurik Sarkisian was who won gold medals for Australia in Commonwealth Games, also Armenian, won many world championships at junior and senior level. So they have produced some lifters in the past.
And this is Yufkin, and Yufkin, well, terrific. Getting the better of Perepechenov was his objective. Solid in the overall bronze medal position, David, but this was a lift of much promise. Real guts and determination as well as skill.
Well, that's right, and he seemed to get better and better as he went on. So 200 kilos, 440 pounds, giving him a total of 355, and actually the gold medal on the clean and jerk.
And there, confirmation of what David was just saying. Perepechenov, 198, as ever, a little fragile overhead, but nonetheless, the combination of his efforts in the first and second half of the competition ultimately good enough to give him the title, regain the title that he first won in Szczecin in Slovakia back in 2001 when he set the clean and jerk record of 210 kilos. So Khachaturian taking the snatch gold, Perepechenov getting the overall, and Yufkin getting the clean and jerk gold. And Russia and Armenia, the two top nations here, once again dominating the top end of the leaderboard. René Hoch down there, injured in the clean and jerk, really nasty looking injury. He's gone home. They don't really know whether it's any serious damage to the ligaments. They had ice and compression on it yesterday. We wait for news, hopefully good news. Back for the clean and jerk after this. Well, here you have a reminder of the situation at the halfway stage. If you're just joining us, a very good afternoon to you from David Morgan and myself, David Goldstrom, in this 85 kilo competition. Marty Rossian, the older of the two brothers, ahead of Palovak, and Izzet Ince, a former European champion, in third place, and 5 kilos separating the top three, and in fact separating the top four with Georgi Markov, another former European champion, but not at this weight category, in fourth place ahead of the Slovakian Andrej Kutlik. Seems to me, David, that this 85 kilo class is very open at the moment. Opportunities for quite a lot of people to come in. Of course, we are missing the Belarusian Rybakov, who is the world record holder with 187 kilos in the snatch, and is the #1 man in the world rankings. Izzet Ince actually is second in the world rankings. So it just sort of suggests that, you know, the likes of Yufkin, sooner rather than later, if he does move up, could be a real force in, you know, the 85 kilos, moving up from 77.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, it's a 2012, isn't it? Really.
Now, it could be a bit of a Russian invasion, London 2012. You know, we talk about the Chinese being very dominant in the upcoming Beijing Games, and I'm sure they will be in the 4 women's categories and the 6 men's categories that they can enter. But you just sense that the Russians have got plenty of strength in depth.
175 on the bar there, just warming up.
Of course, this 85 kilo category, the weights were established in 1998, and a man who's not sitting more than 4 meters away from me, Mark Huster of Germany, commentating for our German service, won the title in 1998, totaled 382.5, and did it again in 99 when he actually increased to 387.5. That would do the job today, probably.
Pretty easily, I would have thought.
But no chance of persuading Mark out of retirement, I'm afraid. He's happy with the new chapters in his life. So onto the stage. This is Varam Gabor, pretty well unknown, really. Again, another of the Armenians.
No.
And didn't really do anything stellar in the first half of the competition. Just 150 kilos, only 1 out of 3 made, and starts this second phase some 22 kilos off the lead. So clearly not going to be a force. His namesake, Gavorian, and Edgar Gavorian goes in the 94 kilos class. Be interesting to see whether he's more effective. Now, Gorzeweski for Poland, Karol Gorzeweski, didn't get a total in the World Championships in Thailand, and that was because he failed 3 snatch efforts at 155 kilos. And he only got 153 today. But having got that 153, let's see what he can do with this.
No, just pushed it forward, left the hips behind. A classic mistake.
Well, his best effort in recent times was the World Championships in Santo Domingo in 2005, if that is recent. It's 3 years actually. So 365 when he snatched 165, 200 clean and jerk for 365. Well, there's no way he's going to get anywhere near that today. 24 years of age, and fortunately for him, Intigam Zairov of Azerbaijan, just getting close to his 23rd birthday, which is round the corner. 190. This will be a new mark for him, David. This will be a personal best. So let's hope it's a good opener. Fair clean.
Good.
Yeah. Nice first attempt. Zairov, who was 7th at the halfway stage, having snatched 157 kilos, goes to the top of the leaderboard, 347 kilos, and takes the outright lead ahead of Arturas Skavicius of Lithuania, who actually totaled 342, the same as Konstantin Selivano of the Ukraine. They were the most successful earlier in the day. There you can see in green the opening weights there. The Russian Palovnikov posting 200 and Martyrossian posting 195. And I guess, David, that 4 kilo advantage from the halfway stage plus the lighter body weight, well, that would level them up.
It's going to be close. It's going to be pretty tight.
Grzewski for Poland. Plenty of time, more than half a minute in hand. And settle in.
Not the best clean now. Needs to just settle down. Get the hips through this time. No. Same mistake again. Left the hips behind the bar. You can't hold the weight overhead in that position.
Just a reminder of our email address, question@weightlifting.de. We'll get to the emails a little later in the day when we do the 94 kilo class. Thanks to those of you who've taken time to get in touch with us.
So the leader in the snatch just warming up on the clean and jerk there. Quite a light weight he was on, actually, considering he's down to the start at 100. But he's increased to 195. Originally he was down at 190.
So is it Inche on the stage for Turkey? I tell you what, they could do with a result, couldn't they?
They could.
They really could do with it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of nearlies, isn't it?
You know, you got the bronze medal in the snatch phase, but you've actually got to go back to the very first category last Monday, and Nurjan, Thailand. I mean, she's the only champion. The only Turkish champion.
Not even Mutlu did it.
And she is the Olympic champion, but it was
nip and tuck, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't
very close.
Well, even this man has faltered in his time. I can remember him in the Olympic Games in Athens. He didn't get it
out, didn't he?
Didn't get a total. Didn't get a total in the World Championships in 2006. Didn't get a total in the European Championships in 2005. So rather too many occasions when it's gone wrong. It hasn't gone wrong for him at the moment, but although he got that bronze medal in the first half, and although he's leading at the moment, still an outsider to take the championship. Georgi Markov, Palovnikov of Bulgaria and Russia, Kutlik of Slovakia, Enikin of France yet to begin their challenge. Likewise for Martirosyan of Armenia. And this is Kutlik, first time, 191 kilos. So this will be for 351, which will put him into second place overall. Second place in the clean and jerk as well, because he's heavier than Ince of Turkey. But it's all a question of Kutlik putting the lifts in. When he puts in 5 or 6 out of 6, he often ends on the verge of a medal, but never quite manages to convert it. And actually, one of his best competitions was in the Europeans, if you can remember, back in Slovakia, David, in Trenčín, when he actually totaled up 362.5, and that was 162.02.5. Now Markov, well, he's been European champion at 77 kilos, totaled up 367.5 on that occasion. Unlikely to add to his tally of championship honours. That was in Loutraki in Greece, and of course he had the Olympic silver medal as a 69-kilo lifter, and as a 77-kilo lifter he was also world champion. Do you remember in Warsaw? Got that as well, 170, 200, 370. That was his total in Poland. Twice a European champion, won the title at Loutraki and in Antalya in Turkey. But you've got to think, David, that he, along with a whole bunch of others, this season has got to be their last, hasn't it? I just can't see them going on after this.
It seems strange that they're carrying on, especially some of the women that, you know, sort of down in 6th and 8th places that were winning European titles. I just can't understand why they're still lifting. I know you said they're trying to get points and for the team, and yeah, maybe that's the reason.
I'll try and have a look actually between the 84 and 94 kilos because they were just working out the Olympic ranking lists, and according to where you end as a nation in that determines how many extra places or places you can achieve. I'll try and give you a bit of guidance on that in the 94 kilo competition a little later. Kozłowski for Poland. Third attempt at 191. Had 2 failures, so this is desperate now. This for a total.
Better clean. Now, hips through on the jerk. No, same mistake 3 times in a row.
Well, in the World Championships, David, he bombed on the snatch and didn't get a total. Here we are in the European Championships 6 months or so later, and he's bombed again this time because he couldn't put any of his clean and jerks home, and that's pretty disappointing. Here he is again. Well, you can't really see from that, but the hips,
from that angle,
yeah, the hips were back.
Clearly back.
Yeah. See that from the side, and sadly for him, no total. But
well, this man in exactly the same situation.
Yeah. Because what this means is that 1 or 2 of the chaps from the B group are moving up the ranking list. I mean, they're not going to be involved in the fight for medals, but the likes of Salivano, Konstantin Salviano of Ukraine, currently in 5th place, and Arturas Skavicius of Lithuania, currently 4th, both of them on 3:42 as a total. Leading total at the moment, of course, is Inche, 3:58.
No.
Well, he's relatively inexperienced on the international stage, but I'm afraid, as you pointed out, David, another man who's in a really bad way. So he's got a 3rd attempt, but only carrying forward 150. So that would give him a total of 3:42 if he can make it. 3:42, weighed in at 84.40. And actually, he's not lighter because the Lithuanian Skavicius has got a body weight of 84.39. So he wouldn't go ahead of him. Minute 20 in which to get ready for his 3rd and final attempt. But just shows you that not all the Armenians can dominate. But of course they have got Martyrossian out front, yet to start. Martyrossian posting 1:95 as his opener. Polovnikov of Russia, 200. And 40 seconds. Well, 2 attempts, David, and effectively the same mistake on both attempts. So again, one of your coaching moments, please.
We're just relaxing overhead.
Coming down to 10 seconds. 8.
That's better. The clean was much better now. Come on. Step through. No.
No. When the clock was running down there to 7 or 8 seconds, you sensed, David, that he wasn't confident. He wasn't really believing himself. So next up, it'll be the Frenchman, Benjamin Hennequin. And pretty important for him because he's fighting for a place for Beijing. Last night in the men's 77 kilo class, his teammate from a B group, Giovanni Bardis, did pretty well, total of 3:35. And this is what he's got to do. He's really got to capitalise on the moment because the French aren't certain whether they've got 2 or 3 men through at the moment. Dabaya will definitely take 1 place. Hennequin, who was 4th in Europe last year, actually managed 5 out of 6, and when he totaled 361, that was his personal best. At the moment, he's on 353, and showed us last year he was capable of 199.
He did well, actually, to hold on to that first one, because I don't know if you noticed, but he cleaned it, and it was across the windpipe, and he almost went, but he managed to sort of get himself back and finish the lift off.
So now this is Intigam Zairov of Azerbaijan. Second attempt. Thought the first one was pretty decent. 193 is his weight on the bar. This is a 3 kilo increase.
To another personal best.
And takes him up to 350. Just a kilo behind Andrej Kutlik of Slovakia. And weighed in at 84 kilos 43, so actually goes into first place in the clean and jerk by virtue of lighter body weight over Benjamin Hennekin. He's got, that's Zairov, has got 1 attempt left. Hennekin has 2. Is at Inche on the stage now, has 2 attempts left in this clean and jerk phase. And he's actually a little bit heavier. That's one of the reasons why he's put the bar to 194. So this for the lead in the clean and jerk. And the overall lead, 4 kilos more than his previous lift, would take him to 362 as a total. Well, the clean was far from convincing, David.
Yeah, all the Turks and all the Bulgarians are down, aren't they?
Well, we got an email in earlier in the day from Emma, and she was a lady called Emma, didn't actually give us her name, but she was saying why the medals for continental Europe and not so many for Great Britain. But I could actually perhaps address it in a different way. Why are we getting, you know, medals now for Italy and France and Spain? Well, because the playing field basically is a lot more level. It's not fully level, but it's a lot more level thanks to the efforts of the World Anti-Doping Agency and their out-of-competition random testing. As you probably heard, the Greeks with a disgraceful total of 11 positive tests in anti-doping random out-of-competition testing. .194 kilos from Markov, just suggesting that he's still a force to be reckoned with. I suppose if there is a consolation from that appalling news that came from Greece, David, is the fact that they caught them. And they will be suitably punished. It is technically sub judice at the moment because the B samples have not, or at least the results of the B samples have not come back. But
that's one thing I don't quite understand. I thought the ruling was that you didn't say anything until the B samples were tested. Well, they haven't. Because if let's say the B samples are tested now and they all came negative, the Greeks have missed out on this championship. And even if they come back negative, their names have still been tainted, haven't they? So you have to kind of get it.
They have not been named. They've not been named.
The Greek team. Yeah. You don't have to be a brain surgeon, do you?
No.
Come on.
In check. No.
No, it's not there.
It's, I'm afraid he's fallen back into habits of olden times there. And Inche is going to have to be satisfied with the bronze medal that he got in the snatch phase. He's on 358 in second position at the moment, but he's not going to hang on to that for too much longer. Georgi Markov leading the overall competition at the moment with a total of 361. Zairov, Hennekin, Zairov, I was going to say, in second place in the clean and jerk rankings, and Hennekin in third place, but Markov coming out for his third and final attempt, just putting it up a single kilo to give him a total of 362.
He did well, actually, because he just pulled on the 191, if you remember. succeeded with 94 quite convincingly. So
yeah, but
you've got a chance of this, actually.
Yeah, but it's still, David, 3 kilos down on what he did last year in Strasbourg, and that's when he finished 5th in Europe. So it's not, at the end of the day, unless something untoward happens and everybody else fails, it's not going to be worth either a clean and jerk medal or indeed an overall medal. Fair play.
Might be a bronze overall. Could be a bronze overall if he just needs a bit of luck, doesn't he?
Well, Martyrosyan still to start. Palovnikov of Russia still to start. Hennikin is the man who's really got to make this count. Kutlik as well.
No, I think this could be a bronze overall, unless the Frenchman's got something special.
Well, here's Kutlik, 196 kilos on the bar. And Kutlik, this is a 5 kilo increase, so this will take him up to 356, which means he'd have to really go some to overtake Markov. I take your point there, but Hennikin on 193, David, he would have perhaps an outside chance of getting at Markov.
Well, he'd need 202, wouldn't he? Or 20. He's heavier, so actually he'd need 203. Can't see him doing that, but yeah, time will tell. This man took some unusual jumps in the snatch phase, didn't he? 50, 53, 60. Jumped 3, then jumped 7. And he's strong.
And
good leg strength. Really jumps up out of the cleans when you consider that's nearly sort of 430 odd pounds. So yeah. 5 out of 6 so far.
Can't be 5 out of 6 because he's still got a lift. Oh, I see what you mean. He hasn't taken his 6th lift.
No.
So 5 out of 5.
I did say so far.
You mean 5 out of 5?
5 out of 5.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better. You mean 100%?
Yeah.
Right. So Kutlik with 356 leads the way, in charge of the clean and jerk. Markov down into, well, still down into 2nd place in the clean and jerk, but still leading overall on 362. And now Zaidov, 3 kilo increase. Now Zaidov weighed in at 84.43, so this is for 1st place in the clean and jerk.
And another personal best. We did 2 personal bests, didn't he? 190, 193. It was just a few kilos too far.
197.
So the bar going up to 197. Yeah, and Zairov very much at the early stages of his career for Azerbaijan. Hennikin. Depends how the French Federation and their National Olympic Committee look at the results. Because Giovanni Bard is finishing in 5th place, and he was 20 kilos off the bronze medal yesterday. Hennikin's got to have it in his mind that after Debayer, he's got to try and be the next best Frenchman.
Better clean. And a good jerk as well.
Yeah, feet in line and stationary. Good lift. 3 white lights.
So maybe that 203 is possible.
So Hennikin, top of the clean and jerk standings, 357. Georgi Markov, 362. But as you rightly said, David, Hennikin, who is actually today heavier than Georgi Markov. So to get the better of the Bulgarian, it's got to be up to 203. So he's come off stage, and of course you have to nominate your next weight within 30 seconds. That was designed to speed things up. All it's actually done, David, is to make people put it up a kilo and then they change anyway. So I'm not sure.
Doesn't speed things up at all.
Not sure.
No.
Yeah, because it's become a sort of standard rule, isn't it? Where you just say, well, put it up a kilo. And there you can see at the bottom there, Tigran Martirosyan has put it up to 200, so he's gone shoulder to shoulder with Palovnikov of Russia. So that would suggest to me, David, that the warm-up has gone well. We haven't seen too much of him in the back room, but Kutlik now, and Kutlik going 199. So obviously this will put him into the lead in the clean and jerk rankings. It will take him though to 359.
Put him into second
overall. Yeah, he's fourth at the moment. But two men yet to start, the big two. So Kutlik for Slovakia. There you can see the clock just coming down to 5 seconds now. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. How tight was that?
Six out of 6 then.
Yeah, well done. A few palpitations from the coach there. Good little sequence from Andrei Kutlik. Very seasoned campaigner at the age of 31, but you can't complain. 6 out of 6, and I can't remember him doing 6 out of 6 for an awful long time. Not in recent, certainly not for 3 years, not on a major championship stage. So, bar to 200 now for these men who weighed in at just under 85 kilos. So these are significant weights that they're trying to lift now. Palovnikov now, first attempt at 200 kilos. Carries forward 168 from the first half.
It's good on this, very strong. I think there's going to be a fight here, David.
Yeah, absolutely. He did 210 in the Nationals this season earlier on. 216, we understand, is his best. He's been lifting for, this is his 8th season, started in 2000. His other sport that he's particularly keen on, but obviously doesn't specialize to the same degree, is judo. And there is a really good contingent of Armenians here, and a big cheer for Martirosyan, who's decided to go head-to-head with the Russian. 200 versus 200. Martirosyan weighed in at 83 kilos 57. He's lighter, so he's got that advantage, and he's got 4 kilos advantage over the Russian from the first phase. So I can only hope, David, that he's confident enough. This is one that he definitely feels he can get. Because if he fails here, well, suddenly the advantage sways to the Russian. Still Benjamin Hennikin in the wings for his third and final clean and jerk.
6 seconds. 5. Oh, he looks strong, doesn't he?
Yeah, pick that up easy, easy. Yeah, I'll give him that. 3 white lights. Do the 3 referees concur? They certainly do. So maintains his body weight and 4 kilo advantage over Palovnikov. This relatively new and inexperienced Russian, well, new largely to us. We knew him in the junior ranks when he got a junior world silver and won the junior Europeans back in 2005. Total up to 365 kilos on that occasion. Already has 368. Now 200. So for Hennikin, this will take him to 360, but it will leave, as you suggested, David, Georgi Markov guaranteed with the overall bronze medal.
Yes, this is for a medal on the clean and jerk, isn't it? And a 4th place.
Yeah. and much closer to the action than his teammate from last night. So needs this. Come on, very good indeed. So 200 kilos for Benjamin Enikin, 84 kilos, 78. And third place in the clean and jerk, fourth overall, Georgi Markov of Bulgaria. Experience counting there, and he's going to get the overall bronze for Bulgaria. But it's all about now gold and silver. The 85 kilo championship comes down to this, David. 2 for the Russian, 2 for the Armenian. Have you got any more money in your pocket?
I think I owe you quite a lot already, don't I?
Absolutely, but you know, keep piling it on there. That's the situation. You can see there Martirosyan with that 4 kilo advantage. He earned that in the first half. He still has it now. He has the body weight advantage. Markov in third place, 362. Enikin, 360. Good result. Kutlik in 5th place, 6 out of 6. You can't complain. Enikin with 360, did 361 actually in Strasbourg last year for 4th place.
So the bar's on 205. This to take the lead and put the pressure back onto Armenia.
Yes, and Martirosyan's taken exactly the same weight, so one can only presume that he's confident that he can go 205. If he can, it's all going to come down to the last lifts. Very strong overhead.
Pressure back on.
Yeah. Now, what Martirosyan's got to do, David, is, I think, he's got to get the 205 and then use the 4 kilos and body weight. But he's got to get the 205.
Yes, he has to get 205 to go back into the lead. This man still has 1 lift remaining.
Martirosyan with the best part of a minute, so on the stage and just sorting his belt out. Some do, some don't use weightlifting belts. Do's and don'ts.
Personal preference,
yeah.
Really. Some use knee bandages, some don't. Some use wrist bandages.
.30 seconds. That'd be quite something if the Armenian Martirosyan brothers can take 2 championships, the 69 kilo and this 85 kilo championship. But it's in the balance. 10 seconds now for Tigran. 8. Has a little look at the clock. Has to get moving. 3. Good, clean. Slides the arms out along the bar.
Oh, needs to hold.
The game is still on. Now,
so it's decision time now.
Well, Palovnikov is now 4 kilos and body weight.
He's got to go to 210.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, this man's got to decide whether he's going to go to 210 as well, or whether he's going to...
No, he doesn't have to do that. Now, Palovnikov, if he goes to 210, David, well, they say he's got a personal best of 216. I don't think he can do anything like 216. Martirosyan going puts the bar up to 206. What's your gut feeling, David? If Martirosyan should take, what, 206, 207, just make it that little bit more difficult.
Well, he's posted 210.
Yeah, I just wonder whether that, you know, Martirosyan might have played it the other way and used the 4 kilos and the body weight. Didn't need to. My gut feeling is he won't need 210.
No, well, if the Russian does this, then he does need 210.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have the choice of dropping the weight down to
exactly
206, which is all effectively that you'd need.
Well, that's the poker game, isn't it? That is exactly the poker game. Well, the championship's going to go to Russia or Armenia. Armenia lead the championship table in terms of medals. Palovnikov for Russia.
Cleans well. No.
No. Oh, no.
So Armenia have done it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to come out for the for the last lift.
Disappointing for me, David, is that, you know, in a funny sort of way, when they were challenging themselves like that, I really wanted to see him do it and then see whether Martirosyan could do it. I think Martirosyan might be a bit fortunate, you know. I'm not convinced that he would have gone to 210. But hey, it's all academic.
I think it's finished. I don't think he's going to bother. No.
No, well, why would he?
Why would he?
Yeah. So the Martirosyan brothers in this competition, Tigran V. Martirosyan, the older brother by some 5 years, he takes the 85-kilo championship, and his younger brother Tigran. There'll be some celebration for them and some celebration for the Armenians. Here, the medals there. Martirosyan taking the gold medal by virtue of lighter body weight there over Palovnikov. Benjamin Enikin getting an excellent bronze there for France. Kutlik, 6 out of 6, but only worth 4th place, and that's been rather the history of his career so far. Georgi Markov down in 5th place, but he has the consolation of the overall bronze medal. And the Armenians, well, they're absolutely delighted. I'll bring you up to date with the medal table in a moment. 377 by 4 kilos and that lighter body weight. He gets the overall title. Markov gets another championship medal. Enikin finishes in 4th place with a kilo less than he occupied than he had last year when he also finished 4th. So the medal ceremony to come. And Armenia now show 11 golds, 2 silvers and a bronze. Russia, the next best, 6 golds, 8 silvers and 2 bronze. And the Ukraine, the 3rd best nation, 6 golds, 3 silver and 2 bronze. We're going to take a break. Back for the medals after this. Well, here we are. This is Palovnikov, and I suppose in a sort of smaller way, David, older brother has emulated younger brother, because younger brother went out in the snatch phase and said, catch me if you can. He was sort of, older brother was sort of doing the same thing, but didn't have quite as large a cushion. And Palovnikov, who needed to take the 210 and couldn't make it. So interesting little pattern there from the family.
That's right. Gold and gold. Yeah, both leading well after the snatch.
Yeah, and just to bring you up to date, I hadn't added in all the gold medals from this competition. Armenia now 13 gold medals from their men's and women's division. A total of 16 medals compared to the Russians, who actually have 6 golds, 10 silver and 2 bronze, which is 18 medals. So numerically, the Russians ahead of the Armenians, but Armenia 7 gold medals ahead of the nearest next nation. I mean, that's extraordinary. There you can see it. And Ukraine, Turkey, no longer a power in the land, mind you. You can see there 6